Hey guys, welcome back. Zach here. I know it's called football. Just here to talk about yesterday's match against Brentford, the loss against Brentford, another loss, adding on to a preseason of losses. And here it is, the one that mattered the most out of all of these games. The first game of the Premier League season. We've lost 2-0, a completely deserved loss, and you have to say that Brentford they deserve to win. Fans talking about the ball went out of bounds for the first goal, or Leno was being fouled for the second goal. I mean, the clearance itself from Chambers was poor. I think Ben White failed to clear it. Chambers' clearance was poor, and you conceded a goal against a throw-in because you weren't defending the ball. The throw-in went over Ben White, and it went over Pablo Mari's head. So there's our two center backs who can't head a ball from a throw in. No one's defending the keeper. So say what you want, but it comes down to how that team was set up to defend. And for whatever reason, the set pieces are horrible. They've been a horrible all preseason. We got rid of the set piece specialist or whatever the hell you want to call him from last season for I don't know why, because we seem to be defending much better from set pieces. So I guess that's a topic for maybe another video or a different talking point. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but um, you have to say the way Brentford set up it was perfect against us, and that's down to the manager. Every player had a role for Brentford, and for Arsenal, it just seems like the same old cookie cutter. Um, no one had a specific role. It was just get the ball out to Tierney and have him whip it in, and doesn't matter who's in the box. The cross goes in, and I don't even know what to say. It was boring, that game. It was boring to watch. It used to be when Arsenal would concede a goal, I wasn't even really upset. And it's not because we'll crawl back and it's only one goal. And I remember watching the goal go in, and I didn't even move. I didn't budge. I just sat there. I didn't think we'll get one back. Perhaps part of me did, but that's more to the uh, excitement and enthusiasm of the Premier League being back. Um, did I expect us to concede first? Not really, but it didn't really change my mood, especially when the second one went, and I just thought, well, yeah. I mean, look how the game's been going. Um, I just want to sidetrack here real quick. Was watching the AFTV interviews, obviously, and Lee Judges, who I think is my favorite guy to watch there, was talking about how some fans have been saying, "Oh, Brentford, this isn't the team you want. You don't want to." And he was saying, "How could you not? This is the best possible matchup you want." They were the worst promoted side, technically, right? They came third. They had to go through the playoffs. So it's not even the best side from the championship. And his point was, who else would you have wanted to start your season? And it's such a great point. I mean, on paper, you'd probably have to say they are the weakest side. They certainly didn't show that. So all credit to them. I'm not even having a go at Brentford at all. They totally deserve the win, but you have to say um, excuses that are used for this club to defend the club, the performances, the manager especially, and the players are just I don't know what people are thinking, and as long as these excuses are running around and people keep making them, then I don't really see any changes, any positive changes or any real changes happening in the foreseeable future, at least for this season. And it's you say this, we say this every year, every season we say it. Every preseason, it's just preseason. Oh, it's just Hibernian. We didn't have this guy, we didn't have this guy, and it's just ridiculous, man. Not much more to say against that, I guess. Just moving on to some players I thought did well. Obviously, Emil Smith Rowe is working the hardest when he was on there. I think Saka, when he came on, also um, uh, was a threat. And again, it's those two young players, 19 and 20, carrying, doing their best to carry these senior players, and it's not the worst thing. I know I hear a lot of people talking about young players. Again, going back to Lee said it's not fair. I think it was Lee Judges saying it's not fair for these young players, and I'm not sure I quite agree with that. These are good players. Obviously they deserve to be playing for the club because of how talented they are. But you have to have a balance between. It can't just be these two players again the whole season like it was last season. I mean, nothing against them obviously, but we finished eighth. Aubameyang, a horrible season. Lacazette not doing it. Partey out injured all the time, and um, I'm not making excuses here. I might sound like it, but it's just difficult, man. It's difficult to watch when you have players who kind of just don't look like they're up for it. Martinelli, I thought wasn't that great. Um, he's a player that I was always calling out for, especially last season, to have more minutes. And I'm not judging everyone off one game. Balogun obviously, looked all right, got into space, was willing to try a couple things, a little back heel, but it's his first game in the Premier League. You can't just start off with a bang, on any debut. So, not having a go at any of these young players, but I will say players like Pepe, just didn't do it yesterday. Wasn't at it. This dribbling, it's like when Theo Walcott was here at Arsenal. Even now, I was just watching him actually in the Everton Southampton game. It's almost like his feet are too fast for the ball. Pepe sometimes, yeah, he's brilliant. He'll get past the player, and don't get me wrong, he is a good player. He is good at dribbling, but it's almost like a coin toss, man. I swear. I don't even know if his dribbling is suited for this league, or his style of dribbling, or it's just sloppy sometimes. And a couple shots, maybe on a different day he would have put them away, but he didn't. And we only had a couple shots on target, and I think most of them were comfortably saved. I think he had one or two from Sambi, who again was a bright spot. I think I'd prefer seeing him alongside Thomas Partey when he's back fit. Great young kid, confident in the ball. I think they said this in my last video. He always seems to have time and space, and in this league, that seems like something that's hard to come by, especially when you're trying to pull the strings in midfield. Going back to the manager and Arteta, I don't know what this guy's tactics are, man. At least for this game, 2 years ago when he won the FA Cup, when he beat City and he beat Chelsea, it seemed like he had everything perfect. Everything was cohesive and it worked. And I'm not sure if that's down to his game plan and what he knew about those managers. I mean, Frank Lampard, all due respect, probably not the best manager, especially to throw him into a Chelsea job like that. But we've seen now Arteta against Thomas Tuchel, and the last time we played City, obviously we lost. So, you take what you can get. Yeah, it was the FA Cup. It was great. He won it his first season, but I mean, you have to question what his tactics were again. It seemed like it's just give the ball out to Tierney and have him whipping across, and it's just not cutting it, man. We had one counterattack after Saka came on. I think that looked threatening, but it goes back to that player, Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe. It seems like they're just doing their best to carry, and it's not enough because these other players aren't aren't stepping up. I spoke before about watching this Everton Southampton game, and I saw that Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal. That bullet of a cross came in, and he was right on this defender being pulled and tugged, and he managed to score with a diving header. And I just thought to myself, who on this team is inventive enough to do something like that? That kind of has the balls to like try, an inventive finish like that, because it didn't look like a header was the best option, and yet there he is, scored it right through the goalkeeper's legs. And I just don't know where the creativity is in this team. And yeah, we're calling out for a creative midfielder, and the rumors about Odegaard. I've said this a bunch before. I said it last season. I would love to have him back. James Maddison, for the price, 70 million, 60 million, whatever it might be. I don't know what's happening with that. I don't have answers. It's not up to me. It's not up to us fans to decide who we can buy, who we can't buy. Who knows what's going on with this club and the owners and what they're spending. And, we spent 70 million, whatever it was, 50 million on Ben White, who seems like he can't get his head on a ball. So, defensive problems seem worse than where they were last season. Maybe Gabriel coming back into the side fixes things. The partnership might be better than the White partnership with Mari, but I mean, who knows? This is all just speculation. So you can't. Nothing is certain, other than probably Arsenal not scoring many goals until we get maybe a different creative player in there. And yeah, man, it's looking bleak. Now down to the goalkeeper, Leno. I don't know what to say about this guy, man. He is looking less and less confident. There was a moment pretty early on, I think around 14 minutes or so, where obviously this style of playing out from the back is what Mikel wants to do. And it just looked like there was a 1-2 or back and forth between Leno and Mari. And he was under pressure. Pablo was under pressure. He had to clear it. And the camera zoomed in on him. You just saw him say, fuck's sake. And I think that this stuff has to affect the keeper. I just don't know if he's confident enough to be playing like this out from the back, and that puts pressure on the center backs, on the defense and the people who are playing back to Leno. They have to think twice about it. Maybe they don't want to make that pass, and that split-second decision, can lead to you losing the ball. I mean, look at Granit Xhaka got caught at the end of the box, and maybe that wasn't down to him thinking about where he was playing it back to Leno, but surely that split second of time, that thought process is it's so dangerous in this league. And I thought he should have saved that first shot. Again, say what you want about Chambers and his defending, but who are you going to put there that would have made it? Would Bellerin have defended better? Maybe Cedric. I mean, Jesus, like, you have to question everything that these players do. I mean, everything the players do, you have to question. Could Leno have saved it? Could Chambers have done better? Could White have got his head on the ball? Could Pablo Mari have defended better against Tottenham, against Son before? So it's like everything you have to question, man. And there's no certainty of who goes through on goal one-on-one with the keeper. Who are you going to choose that is going to bury it? Aubameyang? Not on his form. Lacazette? Maybe. Pepe? I mean, dude, I don't even know, man. Honestly, it's so frustrating to watch. And again, that game was just boring yesterday, man. And to make matters worse, I guess moving on now from the game itself. Yeah, we were missing Aubameyang and Lacazette, and a day before the game. Look, I get it. If you're sick or you're ill, whatever the case may be, but it's not COVID. I don't think so, at least. And I've seen other people who think the same, because if it was, you'd have to, I'm pretty sure the club would have to make a statement, make an announcement about it. I don't think that game would have gone, would have played if two players. In fact, we were missing three players. Runason was supposedly ill as well. So I don't know what's happening. And now I think it's Charles Wheatley. I hope I didn't get that name wrong, but he's now said, I saw before I started making this video, that they're likely to miss the game next week. So in a week's time, they're predicted to be sick still. And if it's not COVID, because you would have had to made an announcement, players would be quarantined, and I don't know what it is, but to me, it makes sense that it could be some sort of bust up with the manager. We know these two players are close, extremely close. And there's just so many questions. I mean, forget the questions you have to ask about the players on the pitch. Forget the questions you have to ask about the manager and his tactics. What about the questions about what's happening off the pitch, on the training ground? What these players want to do, and do they want to play for this club? I mean, it's almost like this sickness, like this black, just tar, this sickness, man, that was here when Sanchez was here. Sanchez wanted to leave. And then it was Ozil and the way he was treated. And I mean, it just seems like one player after the other, and it's just this cycle of. I mean, I'm not even trying to be negative, but how can you not be? You know, I would say two, three players you still need to bring in order to make a considerable amount, excuse me, of change um, to get any result. Because that last result against Brentford, I mean, if that's what we have to offer against, on paper, the technically the worst team. And again, I'm not trying to have a go at they played brilliantly. They totally deserve to win. The manager set the team up perfectly. But should we be losing to that team, with the players we have? And again, I'll say it again, the last team to be promoted from the championship. That's a championship side, right? And we've lost 2-0. And we looked just like we had nothing going on the whole game. A couple chances, sure, but I mean, give me a break, man. Um, so just closing here. I think in terms of these two players being sick or being ill or whatever the case may be, football clubs they don't have to tell you the whole truth. They'll tell you enough. They'll give you an answer, but it's not going to be the answer. And it's the same thing with a lot of big businesses and corporations, and they just have to give you something. Maybe you'll keep asking questions, you'll keep digging. Hopefully, the journalists will, and maybe Charles Watts will have something interesting for us today or tomorrow in one of these videos. I always watch those. I'm always looking out for those. But who knows, man? I mean, they're going to be. I mean, what the story I read was that they're going to be ill for the Chelsea game, or they'll be out. And I don't. What's the illness? I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong, because the last thing anyone wants is these two players to be seriously sick or seriously ill, and obviously nobody wants that. No Arsenal fan would want that, and yeah, you're trying to look out for your players, but it just doesn't seem right, man. It seems sketchy and extremely suspect of something more happening, and the way Arteta, I think, has punished players before. I think Aubameyang being late, which I agree with, showing up late to a derby, to a game against Spurs as the captain, and we won that game without him. Remember, so I don't know what's happening, but I'll most likely make a video once we find something out about these two players, excuse me, being ill or whatever the case may be. So keep an eye out for that one, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.